On behalf of Lok Satta Movement and Foundation for Democratic Reforms, let me extend you the warmest wishes for a happy 2022. New Year could also be a new beginning. Last 2 years for the whole world and for India have been very difficult. The COVID pandemic has made many people suffer. Economies decline and society is largely paralyzed. We are just now beginning to recover. 2022 is an important year for India. On 15th of August 2022, we'll be completing 75 years of independence. That's time for introspection. That's time for evaluation. That's time for energetic action to improve things further. First, we have to make sure that COVID is a thing of the past. Thanks to Omicron, we still have a challenge. Therefore, the minimal precautions required to reduce the spread of the infection and booster doses and vaccination for the younger population. These are all very vital. We must not let our guard. We must not let off our guard. But a lot more needs to be done. For the economy to recover, all of us must pitch in. Lost jobs must be now replaced. Many more jobs should be created. An investment-friendly climate, better infrastructure, sound policies, ease of governance, all these are very vital. But we also must look at the long term. COVID must give us an opportunity to transform our healthcare sector. Our healthcare is in shambles. But at a very low cost, India can dramatically improve healthcare outcomes because we have many advantages. Skilled and qualified physicians, nurses, and other healthcare personnel, quality pharmaceutical and vaccine industry, our ability to generate outcomes at a very low cost with great safety record comparable to global standards, and a whole lot of other advantages that we have. But we have not paid adequate attention in the past 75 years. Now is the time, at a relatively low cost of maybe under 0.5% of GDP, we can transform our healthcare and make it a tremendously stimulating opportunity for the economy. Because better healthcare not only saves lives, minimizes pain, and reduces poverty, it also creates jobs. Huge number of jobs. And then we have to focus on education. Only recently, at long last, we have come up with a sensible education policy. The Union government's policy is sound. It understood the problems and it came up with practical and sensible solutions to address the challenges of school education and higher education. But the proof of the pudding is in the eating. We must make sure that this good policy is implemented by all across the board. There are 240 million, 24 crore students at school and college levels in the country. You cannot change it by mere policy paper. It's a start. All of us, the parents, the students, the teachers, the managements, educators, administrators, policymakers, all of us must work together at the union and state level and at the level of the society to make education real and meaningful and productive. And then we have to focus on rule of law. A democracy becomes only perfunctory when there is no real rule of law. Our justice system requires phenomenal changes. Police and prosecution must be made both efficient, independent, and accountable. There is enormous delay in delivery of justice. We must ensure speedy, efficient, accessible, inexpensive justice delivery. We must ensure rule of law so that everybody gets the same justice. Nobody is denied the rights. Might does not become right. The COVID pandemic primarily affected our cities and towns. Not surprising, because there is density of population and floating population and migration. Wherever cities are reasonably better governed, wherever local government is effective, wherever systems are in place, we could withstand the crisis better. What it means is that we need to empower our city governments, allow autonomy with accountability, so that they can build infrastructure, they can grow, they can be hubs of economic growth and job creation. Over-centralization in a country of 140 crore people has led to enormous decay and mass immiserization, mass poverty and misery in our cities. Despite our constitutional amendments, we made local governments very weak, effete, and with very few resources and no powers whatsoever. It's time that we actually empowered them. We gave them responsibilities, we held them to account. It does not mean that the state will lose the power. The state will have the duty to overall coordinate, to guide, and to hold the local governments to account when necessary. By union government handing over many things to the states at the form of the reform process, the states have not declined, the states have improved. The states are now much more in control of their lives. At the same time, the union has not become weaker. Union found a better role, a more meaningful role. The union government is even more important today than ever before because infrastructure, overall public policy, fiscal policy, and a sense of direction for the country, they're all with the union government. Similarly, if the local governments are empowered, the states will not be weaker, they'll be stronger, but they'll be more purposive. They will do what they ought to do, and they will transfer many responsibilities and burdens to the local people. At the same time, they'll hold them to account. So this notion that power means you hold it all, you don't delegate anything, and you hold the society to ransom, that notion, that feudal notion must give way to a democratic notion of better delivery, greater accountability, and decentralization. 2022 must become transformative for the country. Some of the recent elections and by-elections have showed us how far we have gone from the democratic ideal. Vote buying, massive freebies at the cost of discharging the duties the government is elected to perform, short-term delivery at the cost of long-term good, and divisions in society fostered and fomented by a very dysfunctional political process for electoral gain. They have become the bane of our democracy. China is showing the way in terms of improving its economy, ending poverty, and making rapid strides in science and technology. They're competing and challenging the hegemony of the United States and others. Democratic India must show that we have the same dynamism. While we protect and cherish and enhance our liberties, we can make our system efficient and outcomes real. We can end poverty, and we can become a true global power commensurate with our capacity, our potential. But that means we have to set our house in order. We have to make electoral system work for the people, that the right kind of people get elected, that they deliver in the right manner, that the people understand the value of the vote, and the elections become fine tools to transform governance and improve governance, not merely to decide who will get into power in a feudal struggle. Only then can democracy deliver. In the next 25 years, India has a monumental global challenge. Not only do we have to improve India, not only do we have to make our country better for our people, not only do we have to end poverty and create a framework of rule of law, better infrastructure, good quality education, healthcare, local governance, but we have to prove that democracies work as efficiently, as capably as a country like China. Otherwise, the world will get the wrong lesson that authoritarianism, tyranny, is the way out. That's a very dangerous conclusion. Democracy, better quality of lives, economic growth, they're all compatible. It is wrong to argue that tyranny, authoritarianism are necessary in order to enhance economic growth. But India must play that role to set an example, to prove that democracy, economic growth, eradication of poverty, they're all compatible. That freedom and growth, they go together. And if India falters, the world will suffer. Not only will people of India suffer, but the world will suffer. My appeal to all the enlightened citizens of India, across all sections, across all castes, regions, and religions, is we have an obligation to ourselves. We cannot reduce democracy to vote and shout. We have to make democracy work for our people. The people of India want it. Whenever the governments or society gave direction to people, the right kind of direction, if there's credibility, people of India always followed it. People of India are not inimical to a better India. They in fact want it. They support it. And they're willing to make any amount of sacrifices if only there's a realistic path forward for them. So we cannot blame the people for our failings as leaders, as opinion makers, as elites of the country. Ultimately, it's the elites of the country who have to show the way to transform the system, make it work. By the time we celebrate the centenary of our democracy, 2047, in the next 25 years, we can make dramatic things happen in India. The world is changing with breathtaking rapidity. There are spectacular advances in science and technologies which could not have been imagined even 20 years ago. While global warming and other challenges, they pose grave threats, they also provide fantastic opportunities to transform the way we all live. Our technology and our resources give us that strength and opportunity. Now, this is a chance for India to prove not only that it can be up there among the giants, as it was for millennia throughout human history, but that freedom and economic growth and technological excellence can and will go together. I hope that all of us will use this opportunity in 2022 in the wake of the pandemic and on the eve of the 75th anniversary of our independence to work for transformation of our republic, to make our democracy work for our people, and enjoy our liberties in the fullest form in a responsible way, and make sure that the individual growth and the collective gain go together, not in conflict. Once again, I wish you all the very best for a happy 2022 and for a happy next quarter century of freedom. Thank you.